All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody is having a wonderful week. Welcome to Wrestling with Reality. I am John, and of course, joining me as always is my partner, Mr. Richie Reardon. Richie, what's up, my man?
Not much, brother. I'm doing really good, actually. I just, while we were on our break here, waiting for the show to come on, just had some more breaking news, man. I just want to hop right into it. Pretty blown away.
What's that?
Dude, for the second time, like, I don't know if you heard this, but Liv Morgan, there was a creepy guy that, like, apparently broke into her house with a BB gun, something like that, while she wasn't in her house. Well, it just so happens another break-in. It's really crazy how this stuff's turning into WWE, but Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's house just got broken into and $10,000 was stolen. No arrests were made, nothing like that. It's just kind of wild, man. This stuff's going on. Is there something to it? Is this happening more often than not? I mean, it's crazy. These high-profile athletes are being targeted now, it seems like.
Man, what is wrong with some of these people? They're just fucking lunatics, man.
$10,000. You know, I mean, they get paid very well for what they do and stuff like that, but $10,000 is a lot of money, man.
Yeah, shit, that ain't nothing to sneeze at right there.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And Liv got hit a second time?
Liv got hit a second time. There was a guy that had a BB gun, I guess, and he was like stalking her, and he ended up at her house. While luckily she was at a live event and stuff like that. But yeah, he got a stalker.
Jesus, man, what is wrong with people in this world?
Yep. Crazy, dude.
Wild people, man.
Crazy. Didn't mean to hop in like that. Normally we don't open the show like that, but I just saw it as we opened up.
Oh, it's a good one to open with, man. That's crazy to hear.
Insane.
Oh, let's check the comments here. Let's see who's on here. Rabbi Moses, it's true, it's dang true, it's me, your favorite Jew. Well, hello, Rabbi.
That's pretty good.
That is a good one. I like that. Lorant says, good day, all. Good day, all. Greetings from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Nice to see you, Lawrence. Your rewinds here. You're going to get your ass kicked one of these days. Christine's saying like shit like that, Jeremy.
What happened? What did we miss?
I don't know. I guess it should be the favorite Jew comment. I don't know. Because Rewind thinks Rabbi is Jeremy.
Yeah. You think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. We'll have to have Jeremy on here with his hands up when Rabbi comments.
Oh, man.
The secret of the Rabbi, man. Come on. I'm calling you out for a third week in a row, Rabbi. Get your ass on the line.
What a better way to start a worst gimmick show than the Brad Armstrong theme. BA of the No Limit Soldiers was a terrible gimmick, and a long list of Brad Armstrong gimmicks. Brad's one of my all-time favorites, and
Armstrong is a bad motherfucker, man.
And he has had some of the worst gimmicks ever. Yep. So
that very good gimmick he had was horrible, dude.
There was Arachnaman too.
Arachnaman, yep.
You ever see Arachnaman where he shot out shit from his fingers like Spider-Man?
Yep. He was a great wrestler, man. It's a shame that, and some say that he was more charismatic than the Road Dogg. He just never got to open it up.
They said in the back he was the funniest dude in the world, the nicest guy out there, but when the camera came on, he just didn't have the charisma on the mic in front of the crowd. So, yep. You know, it happens to some people.
Yep.
But it is what it is. You know, it's nothing there's nothing you can do if you choke a little bit. He was still a great damn worker, man. One of my favorite workers of all time, but he had some awful gimmicks.
Yeah.
Rand, what's going on from Canada? Prince Edward Island, Charlestown, represented the Team Canada, USA or WCW takeover. There could be some awful gimmicks in that right there too.
Yeah, no shit.
Repo Man was horrible. I have a signed Repo Man picture behind me, actually.
The Goon was horrible. I mean, we could go down the list. The Yeti. I mean,
you're going to get your ass kicked one of these days, Jeremy, aka Rabbi Moses, for your cultural appropriations.
Man, shots fired. Rewind.
Whoa, it's getting froggy in here right now, bro.
Man, it's getting hot.
People are dumb now because they can't get a job and work because they're lazy. Very true, Brandon. We were talking about some interesting folks before we even came on here. Burning My Light is a great theme song for Randy, that's for sure. Derek,
I still like Voices Inside My Head better. I really like that song. Voices is a lot better.
Voices is a great one.
Yeah,
it is a great.
Especially when the crowd gets into it.
Randy's had some of the best theme songs out of everybody in wrestling history, in my opinion. Yes, he's had some great ones. So he's always been blessed with a great theme song, and Randy Orton's just awesome anyway. So
Rabbi, you coward, man. You're sitting there hiding behind the kayfabe.
Living the kayfabe.
Yeah.
Living the kayfabe. So much buffoonery nowadays with stupid people who do stupid shit.
I agree with you, buddy.
Sometimes I shoot my special Spider-Man sauce out, and Rabbi Moses is always there to catch it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Save your ones for later, guys. We'll get into that later on
Yep.
when we start to the main show and into the main topic of the night. He is great. His two best gimmicks is Dixie Dynamite and SMW and Buzzkill and WCW. Wasn't Buzzkill when he was the pothead?
Buzzkill was when he was the pothead. Yeah,
Okay. I don't know.
I didn't like that gimmick at all.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was funny. He was all right with it, I guess. I just didn't see like Brad Armstrong as a stoner. You know, like, but maybe it was. I don't know.
There's a lot of people I didn't see to be stoners, man. They are, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. But save your picks for later, guys. We'll get to some of these, the best and worst gimmicks. The main event will be best and worst gimmicks. So criteria is it's not just going to be somebody that's just like themselves. We want wild gimmicks that you liked, and we like ones that you just thought were the worst crap in the world. So ones that you liked, crappy ones. Think of that as how we're going to look at it later on tonight. So save your picks for when we get to that topic. But that's how I want you to think of it. Doesn't mean they have to be the most successful ones of all time. It's just ones you like for whatever reason. Some people like different things. Everybody's got a different flavor that they like and all that good shit. So, that's the criteria for later on. But modern news-wise, did you see this stuff with Pat McAfee, apparently?
No. Well, what happened?
Was he on Raw this week? Was he doing the commentary?
He hasn't been on in a while, man.
Apparently, he's a little upset over his contract and the money that he's getting paid. Because
why?
I don't know.
The dude gets paid stupid money and free tickets to Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views every week.
And he gets
I would do it for free.
He gets $17 million a year for his show too.
He's upset about that.
So he gets $17 million for his show, but he gets paid, of course, not that much to be on Raw as a commentator or any of the pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever. He doesn't get paid that much, of course. But apparently he's not very happy with his contractual status and the money that he's getting paid right now. And
how much is he getting paid? Do we know?
I don't know, but I would think probably, if I was to guess, I think maybe $1 million a year.
Dude, I would do it for free.
Sure. A lot of people would say the exact same thing, but I mean, he's probably getting about $1 million a year, I would say, maybe, to do it because he gets to do basically whatever he wants because he's got that huge ESPN show every single day, and he's got such a big, market for it. And then he leaves.
Him a cool $15 million a year to comment on wrestling and sit in a fucking chair and have the best seat in the house every week.
Yeah, and make $1 million a year at least, probably doing it for them. And he gets to take off certain periods of time because, like he gets to take off things for College Game Day because he works all the college programs and stuff in the the fall time and into the winter time.
That poor bastard. I feel so bad for him.
Oh, I guess he's overworked and underpaid by the WWE,
Well then, I mean, pick rocks. There's plenty behind you, dude, that'll do it for half the price.
Well, they had that whole thing with Corey Graves, months back when Corey was kind of pissed about getting moved around. I mean, if he's really sitting it out like this, does it kind of prove Corey's point pretty well?
Switch him out with NXT. Have him do NXT only.
Well, like, what would you do with a guy this mainstream that does that? They're probably going to give him a little bit more money or whatever, but
why?
What do you do with him?
Does he deserve it?
I don't
see why he deserves it.
I think he's obnoxious.
Well, it's not that. I think he does a good job and everything like that. But if he's a whiner and he's an announcer, you're an important part of the show, but you're not a vital part of the show. You know what I'm saying? There's other people you can put in that spot that do a damn good job. I just don't see Pat McAfee getting a big bump in pay. The show's not going to not go on if we don't have Pat McAfee sitting there every week. So, I'm fine with it if he goes, to be honest with you.
Maybe it is the birth of his child. I don't know, Rabbi, but that was the story that was coming out this week that a lot of people were saying he was quietly protesting his contract and sitting it out. Maybe it was due to the birth of his child. I don't know. I don't like him, and I don't like his commentary, and I find him to be fucking obnoxious, but that's just me. I don't really see. They use him.
I hope it's his birth of his child.
Yeah, I hope so too. They use him for his reach on his show with certain things, and I get it why they do that. It's not because he's the greatest announcer in the world or anything like that. They're using him for his reach and what he brings to the table.
Right.
So that's what they're using him for. But I don't know, sitting it out and not doing that and honoring your agreements because of money. I don't really know how much more money this guy could probably fucking need, man. He's probably making 20 million plus a year. You know, like
It's
what more does this
horrible,
guy?
you know, like people like you and me, dude. We would do it for
Yeah,
pennies on the dollar compared to his
a
contract.
fraction.
Yeah. So
What's up, Jason? What's going on, my
hey,
friend?
buddy?
I'm so sorry, but I have to my worst pick early. The worst gimmick in pro wrestling ever is Pat McAfee.
Dude, you know, the guy should be grateful. He was featured on a PLE against one of the top superstars in the WWE right now. You're telling me that you're gonna bitch about the money you're making? Like, dude, you're not a essential part of the show. You should be happy that you have what you have, you know. So that's just my opinion. There's nothing wrong with wanting more out of life. But to just come off as like a fucking condescending whiner, I don't know. I see Pat McAfee being a big baby about it.
Yeah. Corey Graves was a play-by-play, was great as a play-by-play, better than color commentary. I think Corey Graves is a really good announcer. I thought he did a good job with Conan at the NXT Worlds Collide show that I listened to recently. That was the last time I heard him. I don't really watch much of the modern product.
He was on Raw and stuff, and he does okay. But the problem with Corey Graves is there's some of the corny ass fucking jokes that he does. It just turns me off, dude.
McAfee isn't even worth working a boom mic on a Ron Jeremy set.
Ouch.
That's
Damn,
tremendous
Jason.
right there. That's great.
That's rough.
Get rid of McAfee. Bring back Mario from boxing.
Mauro Ronaldo?
Mauro Ronaldo. Yeah, Mauro.
Mauro Ronaldo?
Yeah, Mauro Ronaldo. He's a little over the top for me. He's good, but I don't really... He's not my favorite.
He's not even anywhere close to a JR or a fucking Jerry Lawler. I think Corey Graves is even better than him. So yeah,
fuck off, Rabbi. Natty and Pat will be the new Raw commentary team. Jesus.
Natty Neidhart, dude. She's a fucking low-key legend, John.
Oh, God.
Natty Neidhart is a low-key legend, man.
So Rewind's a fan. He says he feels like Pat makes it fun. It's like watching wrestling with your buddy, like how UFC is with Joe Rogan. I respect that.
No, seriously, dude. You wouldn't want Natty Neidhart on it?
I don't want Natty Neidhart on any fucking thing, on any part of my screen. I don't want to see a fucking thing that she does. I don't want to hear her. She needs to take her nothing happening ass back to fucking Orlando and go lock herself
up. If Natty Neidhart asked you on a date, John, would you take her on?
Fuck no, I'm not taking her on a date. I'm a gentleman too. I get roses, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. I'll take them all out. You know, you know me. You know how I am with my lady. I treat her like gold. Natty, I don't want anything to do with Natty. I show respect to women. You know, that's how I was brought up. I don't want to have to say mean and nasty things to take her on a date because I just couldn't sit through with her for more than 5 minutes.
I kind of agree with what Brandon's saying there from what I'm reading.
Hold on, let me get down here. Let's see. Pat just wants to be a wrestler, but he's in the game and gets a lot of money for his podcast and other stuff he does. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brandon.
Yeah, very good point. Pat is a watered down version of Vince when he was on play-by-play. Yeah, he couldn't lick Vince's jock strap on there.
Right.
Pat McAfee was good for a time. It was a great hype man for a bit. I think having him on Raw every week became too much. Use him 2 to 3 times a year for the big PLEs. But if he's complaining, then WWE should move.
Derek, that is a perfect point right there, buddy.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean the world is gonna continue to go in professional wrestling without Pat McAfee.
Derek, dude, you are not ready for the Natty Heat, bro. John Wangland despises Natty Neidhart.
Despise is an understatement.
Yeah.
She is a nothing happening, no talent fucking hack in every capacity.
I feel the same about Nia Jax.
Yeah. Dude, I think I'd rather watch a Nia Jax match. It's more entertaining.
Nah.
No.
Well, once you meet her in person, you wouldn't say that. She freaking belches, and it's just like, oh my god. I'm serious, dude.
Smells like.
When I went to the Royal Rumble out here, she was like eating Cheetos and burping and shit when she was signing autographs.
I'm just like,
I swear to God.
Oh my god.
I was like, wow, she's the most unprofessional.
What was she picking the fucking pen up with Cheeto hands and shit?
Dude, straight up. I swear to God. She was burping, Cheeto fingers, the whole works, dude. I'm not saying Cheetos aren't good or anything like that, but Jesus, there's a time and a place when you're sitting there having an autograph session that people paid their hard money for. You know, you don't really need to be eating and burping in fans' faces. I'm just saying that.
Oh God, she's awful.
Yeah,
she's awful too. But I think I'd still rather watch one of her matches than a Natty Neidhart match.
Fair enough.
It would be cheaper to get a blow-up doll than having a Natty. I'm sure she's a lovely person in real life. You know, I'm not criticizing her as a real life human being here. I'm just saying as a
Come on, yeah, you are.
I'm saying as a professional wrestler, she sucks. She's terrible. She's the worst. I'm sure
I'll never
she's
forget that promo where she's wiping the makeup across her face. I'm like, good Lord.
When she's doing like that and she's licking her fucking self and like just smearing it everywhere.
What is that shit?
What was that? And then you got these marks on there saying, this is great. This is the best week of fucking Natty's career. Best work, my ass. It sucked.
Yep.
It was the shits. All right.
I want Natty to take me on to the Punishment Bowl. Oh, boy.
Woo!
Nice, Joey. Nice.
She might be into that. I don't know.
You want a vlogger?
What was the one that Rewind had said a few weeks ago when he
Bret Hart just entered the chat.
what was he flogged her, right?
Yeah.
He said about flogging the chick on the
Oh boy.
He flogged the chick in the woods or something like that.
Oh boy. We need another Punishment Bowl.
Bret Hart's going to be slapping some sharpshooters on us, Eric, for talking about his.
He's going to whoop the shit out of his
niece.
Yeah, it's his niece.
Okay. They need the female cemetery every week to come on the show, looking at Mickey James or Lita. I don't know. I'm not a big Lita fan.
So, did you hear about the tickets for Evolution 2?
Oh, they're moving everybody down.
Yeah, they're trying to sell seats and stuff. They're going to have to do the AEW method: buy 3 get 3 free.
Let's be realistic here, okay? The first one sucked, and nobody cared about it the first time.
Even with a mega name like Ronda Rousey, it was still terrible.
What makes you think that it was going to change this go-around?
You have no needle mover on there.
None.
You have none. You have nobody that transcends wrestling. You have nobody that is well-known outside of wrestling. You have nothing. You have nothing. And I'm sorry, like I'm not a guy that says women don't belong in wrestling and stuff. I think there's a place for it, and not just like a sex scene or something like that. They're very talented wrestlers. Don't get me wrong, but to do a whole PLE with something that's not traditionally what it is, and then invest all that money and stuff, the WWE's already in debt. This Evolution 2 thing, I can't see them making profitable at all. I'm sorry. It's gonna tank badly.
I mean, what's the exciting factor of this that we get to
see? Got Nikki Bella coming back.
We get to see the return of the Bella twins.
Yeah, that's really gonna put the butts in the seats.
Yeah, it's
gonna Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, and not to mention, like the other thing is like about this is that
Stephanie Valquay.
Yeah, she's great though.
She's great, but you know what I mean.
But
though
they're not putting asses in the seats like that.
No,
they're not selling out. The thing about it is you can't do this and think it's going to be successful when you have like 3 shows that weekend.
You have Saturday night's main event. Yep. You have Evolution, and you have what's the other one?
You have SmackDown on Friday.
SmackDown on Friday. So yeah, that's
you're 3 for 3 right there.
First of all, to invest into wrestling. I'm lucky if I catch one show a week. You have the watered down. You already have Saturday watered down because of the retirement match at Goldberg, which we all know he's not going over. And if he does go over, it's going to be a shock moment, and then Seth Rollins cashes in, and then it's over with. Mm-hmm. So that's not a spoiler, as Paul Heyman would say. That's a prediction, or that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, the Evolution 2 thing, man, it's not going to be good. It's not.
I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to have great matches or anything, because I know some people like women's wrestling. Rewind says it right here. He's actually looking forward to it. He really likes a lot of the women's cards, and that's great, for people who like that. But yeah. I think the reality is that the masses just don't buy into that.
No, it's not, dude. I'm sorry. Rewind. I know. Listen, I love women too, man, and it's all great and fine, and I'm glad they're having their moment in the Starlight and all that stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now, man, it's not going to draw. It's not. It never will. It never has. It won't. It's not going to happen.
I don't like women taking on men in the ring either.
I'll never be a supporter of that.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I'm not a big fan of that.
I didn't like it when they did it with China, and no.
Yeah, I don't get that why they want to put it in some big arena either, Derek. Like, put it in a smaller, intimate field place with maybe a few thousand people in there. Pack it to the rafters with excited fans in there in a smaller venue. There's no shame in doing that if you're going to do it.
Well, it's embarrassing that they can't even do it in the NXT arena. I mean, that's crazy.
How many tickets have they sold? Did they announce it?
I think they're a little over 3,000 tickets right now.
So you could have put that in a nice, smaller arena.
Yeah.
And you could have filled it up well. And I'm sure the Atlanta area, with as big as it is, Rabbi Moses can tell us about Atlanta because I think he might be from there. But
Jeremy.
yep. But if he's from the Atlanta area, he could tell us that Atlanta's got a lot of different venues they could go to. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this big, massive arena. So, my thoughts, at least, But
Rewind.
some
I'm
people,
glad you enjoyed it, man. But they don't have anybody with the likes of Ronda Rousey's name on it, so it's not going to do numbers. It's just not.
some women's matches are really good. Some are
Sure.
just not for me. Go Bulldogs.
Oh, there's the giveaway.
Not really.
Okay, okay, Jeremy.
You know why it's not? Because he doesn't say Bulldogs. He says dogs. DAWGZ.
Mm,
Because that's how the fans
maybe
of.
that's his condescending way that he knows you would say that.
I don't think so.
Maybe you're rabbi.
How am I rabbi controlling the stream and typing at the same time? I'm not that good. All right.
Yeah.
Medusa and Eva from ET as a host on Evolution 2 might be good. I don't really think Medusa has a good personality and presence on the mic. That's just me, though.
She never has. She was a great worker, though. I'll tell you that. She was a great performer.
Oh, yeah, it's All In this weekend, too, right, Brandon? You're right. I forgot about All In being this weekend.
See?
It's dogs up.
Yeah,
Go dogs.
there you go. Told you. It's Jeremy.
I have some women fighting men if it's China or Luna, but most women look unrealistic. When wrestling men, it's stupid. Where talent like China and Luna could wrestle a good match with men. They were believable. That's why, because they
were believable. But you know what? It just, to me, I don't respect that at all. I don't like that in society. I don't like men bullying women. I don't like women bullying men. I think it's ridiculous. So I don't know. For me, it's there's no place for it in my book. But whatever. People like it. That's on them.
All right, so here is the AEW All In from Texas. From I think they're in Dallas, right?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, okay. So here's the card for them. So they have the Women's Casino Gauntlet match, Men's Casino Gauntlet match. So they'll have both of those.
Whoopee.
Yeah, they always do some stupid shit. They'll always have a surprise in there at least, and the Joker or whatever. So tag team match, you got Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay taking on the Young Bucks, and their EVP status is on the line. What do you think?
Yeah, the Young Bucks are going to lose, obviously. So.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real exciting for that one. Yay.
I'm with you, Rabbi. Yawn.
Okay, I don't even know some of these guys right here in this next one. The AEW Tag Team Championship, the Hurt Syndicate, know them. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the champs. They're taking on Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey.
What does that dude do? Drugs or something?
I guess. Is he mixing heroin and coke together or something? Okay. I don't know who those two guys are.
Go you, bud.
Versus the Patriarchy, Father and Nick Wayne. Hopefully, Father.
Are they related to the Del Wilkes, the Patriot? The fuck? Who are
then
these?
we got the AEW Unified Championship. This is a new belt they have because they're combining the Continental Champion and the International Champion. It's a winner take all to create this new belt called the Unified Championship.
Oh my god.
We got Okada versus Omega. So Okada's the Continental
Hey, that's
Champion.
going to be a great match at least.
I guess this is their first match on American soil, maybe?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's going to be a great match. I might tune in for that.
All right, there we go. The AEW Women's World Title. This should be a fun match. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it.
I think Mercedes is finally going to get her first loss to Toni.
She's actually Mercedes Moné. Say what you will, she's actually a decent worker in the ring. So
no, I agree. I don't disagree with that. She's just a cringy fuck as a person.
Absolutely.
And then the main event is a Texas death match. It's Jon Moxley, the AEW heavyweight champion, taking on Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match for the AEW championship.
That should be a good one.
Hangman's over with the crowd,
Hangman's he's always been over with me, so I like Hangman.
All In sold 20,000 in a stadium that holds 40,000 so far. Really?
There you go. I mean, they're going to outdo Evolution, so That's winning their hat or their feather in their cap, you know.
Christian is the father, Rand.
Yes, he is.
God bless our father.
We wished him a happy Father's Day on Father's Day, so absolutely.
We always do. You know, we're lucky enough. Nick Wayne, I don't know if he's a good boy. You know, like Christian needs for his young son. You know, to learn from him. I don't know if Nick Wayne
Christian needs to mentor Hook. You know,
bro, put those two together.
Yeah,
get him away from that piece of shit father of his too.
Absolutely.
Imagine Christian with
Taz.
Dude. Imagine Christian with Hook and Dominic Mysterio together.
That'd be amazing, dude.
What a trio that would be.
Sign me the fuck
What
up.
do you think about that, Rewind? Hook?
The deadbeats.
Yeah, the ones with the deadbeat fathers, Hook and Dominic Mysterio.
And they have a role model of a father that they always should have had, Christian.
Bro, that would be that tag team would be money. Or that trio would be money right there. That's the real patriarchy right there that they should be doing.
Absolutely.
Will Dory Funk be the guest ref in AEW? I don't think Dory Funk can really walk anymore, man. I saw he did earlier this
fucking match last year, a death match.
Yeah, a death match at like 87 years old. He wasn't moving around too well.
That was the Guinness Book of World Records.
All right, Brandon thinks Mercedes is gonna win this one against Tony.
I think so too.
You think so?
Yeah.
I gotta go with Tony on this one.
Yeah.
I gotta go with Tony on this one. That's the match that I'm most interested to see is the two main events. Okada and Omega is probably gonna be real good too.
It's gonna be a great match.
Take it down, guys. Hook beat the shit out of Christian like a year or so ago. Plus Taz is the dad we all want.
Yeah, if you like a guy that whacks off in a fucking massage office.
Hey, I'm not knocking Taz. He's a good guy too for the most part.
Rewind, you remember when I had to prove you wrong about that?
Nobody holds a candle to Christian though as the father of the year.
That's very true.
Is Christian one of the most entertaining guys in professional wrestling?
He is. He's one of the most underutilized people in wrestling too.
Oh, he's great. He's great. The Deadbeat Sleaze Gang, Dirty Dom and Christian. Boy,
there you go.
They would be fun together. They would be fun together. I like that.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking right before we came on the air about a great interview that we both listened to today.
Charges were dropped on the goats. The fact that there was charges is all Rewind. That's the problem.
Hey, what do you always say though? Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, but there's no Epstein client list, and there's no. I'm not going into it. Oh Jesus!
Lawrence is gonna.
He's getting off. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, he's going away for 20, bro.
We'll see.
He's going away for 20. Tony, Rand's going with Tony to beat Monet, and Lawrence is going to go with Monet. She's probably sleeping with TK, so she'll get the win due to politics. Now, it just came out that she's dating the Beast Mordos.
The who?
I don't know. He's some character on the show. That came out last week.
He's dating him?
Yeah, his name is the Beast Mortos.
I gotta look this up.
I think he's like a modern day Mantar, but he's a luchador.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, you gotta look. I don't know what he looks like in person, but he's got a mask and shit.
How do you spell it? The Beast what?
Mortos. Mortos, I think is it.
Beast Mortos.
I don't really know
what
much
the
of what.
Fuck is that thing?
He's like a modern day Mantar with BDSM shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the Beast Mordos right there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's Mercedes' new boo thing.
Enjoy. Good Lord.
You think they finally take the belt off Moxley, though?
That's a tough one. I don't think they should.
You think Hangman should chase some more?
Joey, come on, man. Holy shit.
I don't know. He could.
You're going to get Rewind excited.
You don't think Hangman is the one that's going to knock Moxley off finally?
I think Omega should be the one that knocks Moxley off.
It's kind of a good point too, because they started off, Moxley's career with Omega and feuding with him. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Yeah,
when he debuted. So
I think Omega should be the one to do it.
I never used to like Omega. And
I know you do now.
Yeah,
you and fucking Rob used to give me so much shit for those guys that I liked over there.
I never used to like him, man, but I've grown to really like him over the years.
Yep.
He's a weird dude. Like, don't
He's
get me
very
wrong.
weird.
Yeah, but it's
I'll never like the Bucks.
No, I'm not a Bucks fan either. But he's a weird dude, Omega, but he's like a cool guy. You can see like he's a cool dude, man. And he's just a normal human, just a normal dude that likes to do what he likes to do, and he's his own personality.
Fucking rewind, dude.
I'm gonna get to him in a second. The Beast, he is a Mexican wrestler. I think he might have wrestled as Roosh, but maybe a different one. I don't know. I think someone. I think John, I don't know who that is. We'll lose and go back to John Moxley. He's got a long ways to go on his contract. Hey, if she does, she does. I'm not knocking it.
Jesus Christ.
Just seeing your face gets me excited, Richie. Joey's comment was a Cheerio.
I'm sorry, dude, Joey, but I do not agree with you, man. Samoa Joe does not need a title run.
No, it's over for him.
I would love to see Mr. Anderson come back in some form or fashion.
He's a great character.
He'd be a great manager at this stage.
I don't know why he's not.
I think he'd be a great manager.
Yeah, he's a talented guy. Very talented guy.
Great on the mic too.
Great on the stick. Knows how to agitate a crowd. Knows how to get them in the palm of his hand.
Yep. Always
a good character to me. A kind of a what if guy.
Yep. What if he never pissed John Cena and Randy Orton off?
Yep. Rand's going with Hangman for the belt. I'm going to take Hangman too. I think he's going to be the one to do it.
Okay.
I haven't really been in Omega since his New Japan days. Enjoyed his matches with Chris Jericho in New Japan.
He was firing on all cylinders during that time. It was like when Switchblade came along. All of a sudden, he just lost a lot of momentum.
What's your final prediction here with Goldberg too for the main? Let's get our final predictions on this before we talk about the fun podcast we listened to today. For Goldberg in his final match, how's it gonna pan out? Is Goldberg gonna win and then right off into the sunset? Is Goldberg gonna lose? Is Goldberg gonna win and then Seth cashes in? Rand's saying Goldberg's gonna win and then Seth's gonna cash it in. What do you think, Richie?
I think they're gonna have a disqualification. I think Seth's gonna disqualify Gunther and basically attack Goldberg, or attack Gunther, and Goldberg will be declared the winner, but it'll be via disqualification. I don't think this is the time. They're not going to waste Seth's cash in on a fucking Saturday night main event. They're going to have a cool moment of Goldberg coming out. It's going to be a great competitive match, but it'll be quick. And I think Seth Rollins will interfere in the match, and Goldberg will go over and win, but he's not going to be the champion, kind of thing. They'll do some sort of screw job finish like that.
I'm going with Rand, with Goldberg getting the win and then Seth cashing in to take him out, get the belt.
You think they're going to waste it on a Saturday night main event?
Yep, I do. I don't think this Rollins gimmick is going anywhere with Breaker and Bronson Reed, like we've talked about. I think it's dead in the water. They're already teasing, from what I saw. They're already teasing kind of a Braun Breaker dissension. I saw from a clip that was on, I think, Raw last night or something like that. And they're already kind of teasing some dissension with them because Braun's talking about he was handpicked to be the guy of the next generation, and Seth's going to help him and all this crap. And then you got Rollins and Rollins and the wise man right behind him, kind of like, what the fuck is he talking about? So they're already kind of teasing that. So kind of like the evolution with Batista, I think, is the next logical step. And I think Braun Breaker's probably going to be the guy that's going to take it off of Seth Rollins down the road.
Can we please get some different ring gear for that fucking weirdo in their group?
Bronson Reed?
Yeah. That is the most disgusting outfit. Like, it reminds me of Mark Henry.
He's already fucking injured, Lawrence.
How do you get your pec down to your back like that?
One of the funniest ones of all time, right?
Yeah.
He's already injured, Lawrence, before he even goes in. He's got
legs messed up. Yeah.
They're going to get about 3 minutes out of this match if they're lucky.
If they're lucky. That's why they keep joking about it, the 3 minutes.
Wow, this is interesting. Jason says he was reading a story. There's only been 2 title changes ever in the Saturday night's main event history. It was like 2 or 3. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I don't think they're going to do a title change on it.
It's a good way for them to market future ones that anything can happen on it too. You get a world title change. Derek says he thinks Rollins tries to cash in, but Roman returns to stop him. That's a good one. Braun Spear on Goldberg could
I
be.
hope to hell that happens. That would be amazing.
It's gonna fucking kill him. If
I
it
thought
does.
Braun should have been his retirement match. Anyways, you could have drew so many parallels with the Steiner brothers, the WCW tie-in, all that stuff, and you could have did a great story with Braun Breaker, man. Football player, all that stuff.
Brandon's got a good point here, bro. He says WWE needs more views on Saturday Night more than All In, so they're gonna do anything maybe to go out there and make it a memorable moment too. I think that's a very good point.
We'll see.
Are you saying there's plans for Braun to break away from Seth? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to be the Randy Orton of the Evolution days.
I don't know if you caught on Raw when they were talking about the Goldberg situation, and they said that he was interviewed in the back, and when they asked him, well, Goldberg, what if you win? What does that do? And Goldberg says, well, that's a hell of a situation, isn't it? He said that'd be quite a predicament to be in.
He ain't holding on to it long term.
No. It'd be about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What are they doing with R-Truth? That's what I want to know. Where the hell is R-Truth after all this stuff happened? Where is he?
Isn't he in a feud with Damian Priest or something now?
Is that what it is?
I think I heard. I don't watch the show
he's
regularly.
On SmackDown, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it was like a feud with Damian Priest or something right now.
I'll never see it then. I only watch Raw.
I don't watch any of them. I just catch clips here and there.
Yeah.
So I think it's with Damian Priest. For those who watch frequently, tell me if I'm wrong. But I think that's where they're kind of going with him, which means that it's basically going to be nothing happening with him at any point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you last week, he's going to be in my town on the day of SummerSlam for fucking Speedy Fest in our town.
Dude, the fact that it's like with Karrion Kross, man. The crowd wants these two guys bad, and you're not giving them what they want. And Triple H isn't a fan of the crowds hijacking the shows and stuff like that and making choices, much like happened with Daniel Bryan when the Batista stuff was overhauled and they put Daniel Bryan in there. He doesn't play into that shit. He wants you to sit back and enjoy his creation. So I don't think we'll see R-Truth.
Thanks, Rand. I thought it was somebody like that. It's Aleister Black, not Damian Priest.
That's a waste.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a waste turning Black as a heel already.
Yeah, I do too. I heard Paul Heyman's in the backstage area really talking Aleister Black up, so we'll see what happens with him.
I've always been a fan of Aleister Black.
I love Aleister Black. He has one of the coolest entrances in WWE, and I think Paul Heyman should have been the guy that Paul Heyman went with next. That's my opinion.
Good point, Rewind. He said SummerSlam is 2 days, so one of the days he could be doing an autograph signing, next day he could be at SummerSlam. You're right, man. Could be there on Sunday. I forget it's 2 days now. Good point. Do you like the 2 day for SummerSlam?
I don't like 2 day for any of it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm very biased because of my childhood and stuff like that. I would rather have WrestleMania be fucking 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it was. What was it, 4 or 5 hours? Something like that.
4 or 5. Fuck, they did one that was like 8 hours, remember?
I would rather it be that.
I remember years ago when we started Wrestling with Reality. This is, I think, probably before you came around. And I was working with Rob and a couple of the other guys, and we did a WrestleMania panel for one. It was the year Roman, I think, won the belt back when he came back from something, cancer or something like that, or leukemia, whatever he came back. I can't remember exactly the WrestleMania, but we were doing a panel for it. And we were so fucking tired of talking about wrestling after that night because the WrestleMania was like 7.5 or 8 hours long. And that's all we could think about was like, this was like a full work day watching wrestling. It was too much. And then they started breaking it up into the 2 days. And I still think it's too much. I want to go back to the days when I was younger where it was 3.5 to 4 hours tops, Do it like that. Listen, it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Not everybody can get a match on the card. All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
You need to, the participation trophy shit needs to stop.
Yeah.
That's why it's so watered down the way it is. Not everybody's going to get featured. Not everybody was featured back in the Attitude Era. Not everybody was featured in the golden years. You had Hogan and all that stuff. It was the top elite guys that got their spot because they busted their ass and put the asses in the seats every year. That's how you developed your needle movers like Austin and Rock and all those guys. They had to work, and they really had to feud with each other even backstage and be competitive to get those spots. That's why you got the content and the characters that you did.
If you guys like pay-per-views on Saturdays, put them in the comments. Or if you like them on Sundays, put them in the comments. Which do you like?
Sunday.
Yeah. Rewind says he's with you. I think that's a great point from you guys on that one. I like them on Sundays too.
Yep.
What do you guys like for how they do it now?
Because the reason why it's so cool is you do Sunday and then the next night you have the reaction on Monday Night Raw.
Nah, not a 1 hour event, Rabbi.
What?
No.
Are you nuts?
What are you going to do in an hour? You know? You're going to get an Iron Man match?
Was that a Sunday Night Heat episode for you there, Rabbi?
3.5.
You got to go practice Shabbat or what?
3.5, 4 hours is where it should be. Yeah. 4.5 tops with a runoff one night. Anything else, too much for me. I was at WrestleMania 2 in Chicago. It was also in LA and New York City. It lasted a long ass time. Yeah, those were the days when they simulcasted everything. So like Jason, they didn't air it live though, if I remember correctly. I don't think they aired it live, did they? Or did they put it together beforehand? You know, like I don't think they aired it live, but I think they had to piece it together. But you tell me if I'm wrong. You were there. I was way too young at that time for that. I was only about 4 or 5. But yeah, they used to do it with the days where they would simulcast it. So they had WrestleMania 2, like Jason said, Chicago, LA, and New York City. Crazy to think about doing that, right?
It is crazy to think of that. When they announced that it was going to be a 2-day event, I think they're going to move every PLE to 2-day events because it's just another way to make more money, right? But I don't want to see that. I don't. I want it to go back to Sundays, and I want it to go back to the elite wrestlers are the ones that makes the spots on the card. Period.
Mm-hmm. Joey says Saturdays as an adult because I can get drunk. Sundays as a kid because I could skip school. Good points. WWE on Sunday for Rand for the PLEs. Rand says keep AEW on the Saturday nights. I like that idea too. You know, I get counter programming and why they do it, but I don't always think it's a necessary thing to do. Just my opinion.
Rewind shooting shots at fucking Rabbi again.
You're into Taboo Tuesday, Rabbi. I got some taboo shit for you. Come on down Daddy Jay's house. I'll show you a good time, Rabbi.
Daddy Jay's.
Make sure it's on Tuesday. The feud that is brewing between Rewind and Rabbi Moses.
Man, I would like to see a wrestling match with you guys.
This is week after week with them right here. They are throwing fucking digs at each other.
Right.
They're not in they're
going to have a tuxedo match.
It was on closed circuit TV at all locations. Wow. So you were watching like the other like WrestleMania pieces together, Jason, and then they'd stop something in Chicago and then move on to doing something in LA. That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to see that ever again.
No.
I think that's why they only did it once because it was stupid.
Right.
Lawrence says, I like Fridays or Saturdays as that is the start of the weekend, or Sundays are for church, relaxing with family, watching a movie. Just my opinion regarding pay-per-views and PLEs. Good points. Good points. Rebind versus Rabbi is like Taz versus Sabu.
Yeah, you could do that, but Rabbi's too much of a bitch to come on the live to show who
he won't do it, right? You're right.
He's
protecting the kayfabe, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, you can call it what you want. I call it chicken shit.
We'll see if he's ever got the balls to answer.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's ever got the balls to answer. Fun podcast episode. This guy doesn't need us to give him any attention, but by any means. Yeah. If you guys like it on audio.
Nikki Bella says it's Chris Van Valet.
If you want to watch a good episode of another podcast too for wrestling, Chris Van Vliet's one of the best in the business. He doesn't need any grub from us and our small little audience that we have or anything like that, but he gets really good interviews, not just with Hollywood stars, but he gets them with all the best wrestlers in the world. He's had everybody on his show. I think he's even had Hogan on. So he's had everybody. But his episode he just did this week.
Probably my favorite episode he's done.
Yeah, man. He had Steve Blackman on.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great interview. I got like 10, 15 minutes left in it to finish up later. But really entertaining, man. Steve Blackman is a character, is he not?
He's like Adam Sandler, dude. He's got the driest sense of humor, but he's funnier than shit. And when they start talking about the night that Owen Hart passed away, that was the spot that I'm at right now. And man, you could just tell the emotion, even with his dry attitude and stuff like that. You could tell it affected him a lot. He was spending time with The Rock in the back when it happened, and he was one of the first ones to basically say that Owen Hart had passed away because he had such a good view of it. He could see that he was completely blue. after he hit the ring. So, yeah, man, great interview. I tell you all, you guys need to check that guy's shows out because even with the celebrities and stuff that he has on the show, he's just so good at getting an interview out and stuff.
Is he the best interviewer in the business for wrestling interviews?
I would say so.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody compares to his style. He's
he shits on Conrad. I'm sorry.
Does he? Like, you mean like how much better he is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He makes Conrad look ridiculous, you know.
And he's a likable guy too. That's the thing I like about him. He's a humble dude. I like how he ends his shows every week with having the guests, you know, that come on, give something they're grateful for and everything like that. Like, I'm glad to see a guy like that is getting the success that he's having in the world. He worked really freaking hard to get there. He's a nice guy, classy family man, you know, all around good dude. And he gets amazing guests too, you know.
Yeah, he does, for sure.
He gets everybody. But this Blackman episode, guys, go back and fucking listen or watch this, however you want. It's on YouTube. It's on all the podcast outlets and everything like that. Just look it up. Blackman is a character. Is he not the real man's man when you listen to Steve Blackman talk? That dude is legit.
He is, and he's isn't he a bounty hunter and stuff like that? I mean,
kind of came in. He doesn't do it as much anymore, but they're capable of it, and that's kind of how he got in the bail bonds business. He was saying
he's still in the bail bonds business, right?
Yeah, that's what his main gig is. That's why he ended up closing his school down. He said he just didn't have enough time to do them all because his bail bonds business was so popular. Van Vliet was joking and said that before they even got started, that his phone must have rang like, you know, a shit ton of times for people calling to get bail. And he says, yeah, my phone never stops for it. So he had a better business, and that's why he ended up kind of just going down that route instead.
Yeah, you make stupid money in that industry and stuff like that. And, you know, fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter, eat your heart out. If I had Steve fucking Blackman coming after me, dude, I'd be shitting a brick.
I'd just put the shit down and say, all right, man.
He'd be pulling out them fucking glow-in-the-dark sticks doing one of these. I'd be like, I'm done, man. I'm coming out.
Yeah. You don't want to fuck with that dude, man.
Head cheese? No, thank you.
He's legit. He's as legit can be. And he's
a legit tough guy.
And he's humble, and he's a nice, quiet guy.
Could you imagine if he would have fought in the UFC instead of went the WWE route?
He'd have lit some fucking motherfuckers up, bro.
Yeah. And or if he went to WCW and took on Lightning Foot, dude, man.
Did you hear
that would have been?
Oh, him and Jerry Flynn?
Dude, Jerry Flynn and him would have tore the house down.
Who you picking on that one?
Fucking Steve. Well, Jerry Flynn's mullet would probably beat both of them, so. Them
Jerry
trunks
Flynn,
are a close second, though. I don't know.
Jerry Flynn looks like your drunk uncle, you know,
dude, and he drinks fucking like not
Natty Light,
not Natty Light. No, he drinks the Natty. What is it?
Yeah.
What's the special Natty Light? It's
like
the Natty Ice or something.
Yeah, Natty Ice, man. And he
smokes the Natty Daddy.
And Jerry Flynn looks like the type of guy that smokes about fucking 5 packs of Pall Malls and unfiltered a day.
Yeah, nonstop.
Just chain smoking that shit, man. No, Steve Blackman is legit. When he tells the story about JBL, when he kicks the shit out of JBL in the airport,
yeah,
like JBL is told the same way. He says, "I love JBL." I'm just gonna say I love JBL. I love JBL, and
he's
JBL
grown a lot as a person. I like JBL a lot.
And he laughs at himself, and he owns up to stupid shit that he's done. So I've heard JBL tell this story about when they were fucking with Blackman on the plane before, and then he said when Steve told me he was going to beat the fuck out of me, he goes, I knew that I just had to keep going because he was going to get me anyways, so I might as well save face a little bit. And then when you hear Blackman tell, he's like, they just kept fucking with me and agitating with me. He goes, I'd have lit him up right on the plane and knocked his ass out cold. But he's like, but I knew I'd have all the air marshals. I had 20 air marshals waiting for me when I got back there. He said, so I knew enough to go down when we were going to get in baggage area and I was going to knock his fucking head off. And then he tells the story about how he just lights him up and knocks him out down in the baggage. And when Vince finds out, and Vince says, well, what are we going to do different next time? He goes, I promise, Vince, this will never happen again, at least not in an airport. Vince is like, all right, fair enough.
Yep.
I don't want to be anything with Natty at all, Joe.
John wants to be Natty's daddy.
No, I don't want to be anything with her. Nope. I would think that Steve Blackman and Ming would probably be a pretty good fight.
I still got Ming.
I got Ming too, but I think Steve's going to give him a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I just think that Ming's built like a brick.
Ming's the type. If Steve hit him with those Filipino sticks that he used to do, like
it would break on him.
Ming would do like remember that one thing for with him and it was like it's Slamboree when they hit him with with one of those heavy ass wooden chairs,
And
you
you just
know?
broke it.
Yeah, and it just splat, right over
Yeah.
Ming's head. And that was one of those heavy wood chairs from back in
Yeah.
the day. And Ming just ate that like it was nothing. Like
Yep.
I can just
Yep.
picture him and Blackman going at, and Blackman fucking nailing him with those Filipino sticks,
Dude.
and Ming's just eating it, going for the fucking tongue and
You
death
know,
grip on him.
fucking Ming, man. When I was a kid and I saw him put that tongue and death grip on, I literally thought he was killing motherfuckers with that thing, dude. It was
Yeah,
believable.
Yeah, it was Dusty that hit Ming with the chair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was Dusty that hit him. That was when he was feuding with the bunkhouse Buck and all them, right? Colonel Robert Parker's stable.
Yeah,
I remember. Ming, we've talked about Ming a million times on the show and just how much we love the stories of him. But I'm not gonna lie, I would really like to see those two go at it in a fight.
That'd be interesting for sure. I still got Ming though.
Yeah, whoever wins, they're going to help the loser up, and then they're going to go have a couple of beers together right afterwards.
For sure.
And some laughs. Sure. Like, when you see Ming has the best laugh. Like, I saw that thing with him on Dark Side of the Ring where he just started busting out laughing here and something. He just looks like the softest teddy bear in the world that could fucking rip your face off.
Yeah, with his bare hands.
Yeah, any way he wanted to. Would have loved to have seen Ming versus David, too, in a fight back in the day. Who you got on that one?
Still Ming.
Yeah, Ming by blunt force fucking beating.
I want to see Ming and John Jones go at it.
Whew, that would be interesting, right?
Yeah.
You think Ming would submit if he got caught in a good in a good submission? You think he'd be the type of guy that would submit?
Absolutely.
You think he'd tap out?
Yeah, just so he'd let the guy would let him go and he'd fucking rip his face off.
Pull his fucking eyeball out afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, dude, sorry to get off topic real quick, but did you hear the announcement with the UFC?
Hold on.
They're going to do it on the White House. They're going to do a fight on the White House lawn.
Yeah, we'll get to that one second. Jason says, peace out, my dude's got to be up on the radio at 6. Been praying for you and your family, Richie. See y'all next week. Good night, Jason.
Thank you, Jason, I appreciate that, brother.
I don't like the White House thing. I think it's a disgrace.
Do you?
Yep, I do. My personal opinion.
That's okay.
I respect President Trump for wanting to do it. I think it's a cool idea, and I respect the UFC and the guys that want to come out for it. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. I want to show respect to that building where all of our presidents, whether you liked them or not, have lived in throughout their presidencies, and it's the most rich history place for our country. And I just don't want to. I don't want to see it brought onto there, but they're going to. I guarantee it. What about you? You like it?
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I think it's once in a lifetime. I don't think we'll ever see it happen again. That's for sure. I think it'll be a one and done thing. Tickets are going to be a crazy amount of money, and I heard they're going to donate it all. So that's another good thing. You never know where that money's going to be donated, though. So we'll see. I think that's going to pull a lot of fighters out of the woodwork that are kind of teetering on retiring and stuff like that. I know Connor's probably going to come back to that one or put his name in the hat to be drawn to fight on that card. John Jones is already back in the USADA testing for it, so evidently everybody wants to be in it.
What a turd he can be, to do that type of stuff too.
Yeah, you relinquish the title and you fuck over Tom Aspinall out of that fight, and then you say, "Oh, I want to enter in the USADA pool for the White House fight." What an asshole! Classic John Jones bullshit.
It's his narcissistic and egocentric and self-centered nature that he wants to get on something big like that, so he's going to come right back in.
Yeah.
And I hope somebody, I really do. I hope somebody fucking smashes him one of these days.
I don't see it happening.
I don't either.
I don't see Aspinall doing it.
I don't
think Aspinall's the guy. I think Aspinall's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. I like his story.
He ain't John Jones.
He ain't John Jones, man.
No. It ain't even going to make it out of the first round.
No.
In my opinion.
Nope.
Jones withstands a quick onslaught that Aspinall tries to put out there on him, if he even can touch him.
The way he made Stipe Miocic look, and Stipe is no slouch. He's one of the goats of the heavyweight division.
He's knocked out
fucking everybody. He made him look like he was stuck in slow motion.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah. And Stipe was legit, man.
He cracked his rib with a fucking spinning back kick, and that was it. He had enough.
I mean, look, he beat Daniel Cormier every freaking time like a chump that he faced him, who's an Olympic level wrestler. I mean, John Jones is a bad dude. He ain't gonna have a problem with Tom fucking Aspinall, in my opinion.
Yep. Yep.
He's gonna have fun with him a little bit. Tom's gonna try to flurry him, maybe. John's gonna get him to the ground and he's gonna beat on him for a little bit, and then he's gonna tap him in one round. But I still would like to see him get humbled, to be honest with you.
Sure.
You know?
I would love to see it too. I just don't see Aspinall being the guy to do it.
I think his legacy means so much to him, bro.
It does. If he lost it, you think he's a mental case now. And that might be the thing that brings him peace, actually. Him actually losing. You never know.
He's a sociopath, dude. Nothing's going to make that guy happy in life. He's not the type of guy that can be content with being a normal person for long, from what it seems. Sure. He has total sociopathic characteristics to him, the way that he acts.
Yeah.
And the way that he treats people. We were talking about something very sensitive topic that we're not going to bring up on here off the air tonight. And about people who do just the most awful and egregious acts and things like that, and why they're rich and famous and popular doing it. And you see them become just complete demons for what they want, and what they crave, and it's something they can't have. John Jones has all the money in the world, man. The dude acts like a sociopath to people. He's awful and mean to people. He treats them like shit. Why? Because he's rich and he knows that he can in his mind.
Exactly.
And I want to see a dude like that get fucking smashed eventually. They deserve it. He's not a good guy from everything you see.
Yep.
John has a valid point. LBJ, when he got out of the White House, was dead broke, and they offered him a commercial, and he turned it down for that reason. Yeah. I mean, it's just, to me, it's the most sacred place for our country. And I just want to see him show that. John's become like the Conor McGregor. You're better off banking on my reliable fighters, making them stars, giving them the spot, not worrying about the Jones and the McGregors. Good points, Laza, but these guys also draw big money.
Yeah. Conor's got the top 8 pay-per-view spots in the UFC. So
when they're not a cash cow anymore is when they're not going to want to bring them to do these types of things. They're going to bring the biggest cash cows in. It's all about making money at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Or doing something that's going to draw more attention to them. Because let me tell you, if they do an event like this, even if they're giving away the money, they're not going to take anything from it. They're going to do it for free. They're doing this because they know of the publicity and the attention that they're.
Well, the money that they're giving away is going to be a tax write-off, so it's not it's not like they're not getting it back.
The publicity they're going to get for doing this is worth
more.
Yeah, it's worth
the
money.
Fact that the UFC is going to say that they were able to hold an event on the White House lawn is going to send their stock shares soaring so high, it's going to be ridiculous.
100%. It's a smart move for them to do.
The NFL is never going to be able to do that. The MLB is never going to be able to do that. Hockey's never going to do it. Basketball is never going to do it. The fucking UFC is going to do it.
Lawrence brings up a good point here, but I want to hear your opinion on it. He says it's becoming like Hulk Hogan. He's a draw, but he's not worth the cost, like the likes of John Jones, etc., where you could just build up a new star fighters, build their brands, etc. Do you think working still with a guy like a Conor McGregor or John Jones is worth the hassle, for them, just because of the money and the attention that they're going to bring in? Or do you think, like Laza says, it's time to just fucking cut bait from these guys that are just going to make everything a living hell for you and bring problems to you? What?
I'm starting to see the UFC follow the same business model that the WWE is, where they don't want to build stars like McGregor anymore, because what happens is you give them too much power and negotiating, and it really dips your product. Like when McGregor's not on it, it hurts it almost. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. I mean, like I said, McGregor has the top 8 pay-per-views in the UFC. Obviously, every time he's on there, he draws that much money. Is he worth the problems? Absolutely. If he wasn't, they wouldn't be featuring him. They wouldn't be talking about him. They wouldn't. He still wouldn't be relevant to this day. Mm-hmm. John Jones, unfortunately for him, at least McGregor, with the bad publicity and stuff like that he's had, he's pretty much stayed out of jail and things like that are a super negative light. John Jones, unfortunately, it seems like every 5 minutes he's in cuffs. He's telling somebody he's going to kill him. He's a little bit more, and this is hard to say because McGregor's pretty unpredictable, but John Jones is a more unpredictable person even than McGregor. It seems like he's getting in trouble all the time if he's not shooting guns off in a parking lot somewhere in his Corvette, or beating his head on a cop car, telling him that F pigs and this and that, or in a comedy skit where a comedian's talking to him in the crowd and he's saying weird things like, finger my asshole and stuff like that because he's totally, belligerently drunk. It's unfortunate. I don't think John Jones is worth the trouble. I really don't. At this point in time, I think that the UFC should part ways with him until he gets his life straight. That's my opinion. McGregor's still a cash cow. He always will be. John Jones, his fights draw, but they're not on the level of that. That's why he's never made McGregor money.
Mark my words on this one. This is just a crazy, outlandish opinion, maybe, but it's just how I feel. To me, McGregor, Jones, one of them is going to kill somebody in some negligent way sometime soon.
Yeah, it'll be vehicular homicide.
Probably something to the extent of that. Yeah, that's what I fear with one of them, that they're gonna be a Sonny. They push the boundaries so many times now.
Or worse.
Yeah, or way worse, and they got way more money.
McGregor has ties to the Kinahan cartel in Ireland. He's already had his Black Forge in firebombed and things like that, so that's not out of the realm of possibilities for him. And John Jones, he's a mental case,
Yeah.
So either one of them make it happen.
And I hope I'm wrong on this. God forbid. Of course, nobody wants to see this, but these two are so negligent that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't remember. What's the Muhammad Ali Act with boxing? I don't remember what the Muhammad Ali Act is. Do you?
I remember somebody telling me about it one time, but I don't remember what it is.
Let me look it up really quick because I don't remember the exact what it is. So I want to be able to comment properly on it. So the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act, commonly referred to as the Ali Act, is a federal law enacted in 2000 to protect the rights and the welfare of boxers, increase sportsmanship and integrity within the boxing industry, and enhancing the overall integrity of the sport. So basically what it is it's protecting them and giving them rights for their health and safety from what I've seen.
So it's a unionization move.
Yeah. And Rewind says with Trump being friends with Dana White, they're going to get rid of the Muhammad Ali Act, which is going to fucking destroy boxing stuff. It's going to become a thing. It very well could, Rewind.
Yeah, Dana White's trying to start Zuffa boxing, so we'll see. I mean, he's got a motive to do it.
None of them want unions either, any type of union-like behavior and regulation. Let's be realistic, Yeah. That's the demon to people like that they got to fairly compensate people.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm all for unionization. I don't believe in unions myself, but I could take it or leave it on that.
But with their rights and stuff like this, where they're not able to be regulated as much, I can see it much more in this instance, for things like that. And I don't want to see them, not have to treat the fighters accordingly. I don't think that you'll see that though. With Dana White, he does care about the fighters.
Dana White's, say what you will about him. He may be a huge Trump fan and stuff like that, but he's a pretty fair dude.
Yeah. I think a lot of other promoters would be shitbags about it if they didn't have it regulated. I don't think Dana would be, though.
Yeah.
I think Trump would gladly welcome that type of stuff. I don't think he cares about it, but I think Dana's a little bit different on that.
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock was the godfather of the UFC. I don't know about that. I think Royce Gracie was, but
I don't think either of them were. Neither one of them. When you look at those guys,
the creators, though, the ones that made it the most from what it was and that they recognized from the beginning, the Gracies.
I understand what you're saying there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand something. Those guys, that was still a time where the UFC was not a huge conglomerate.
Sure.
So I mean, you can't really say that until a certain point where it crossed over. I think Randy Couture is the godfather of the UFC, in my opinion. It didn't really start taking off until that point. That's when they became green and in the profit zone.
Interesting.
Tito Ortiz, you could even make a case for that. That's when the UFC really started to take off, was Tito Ortiz.
I look at it from the perspective of who is there to kind of start it and kind of build the framework from it. So that's why I kind of look at more as like a Gracie as the godfather of it in the beginning. Not the biggest draw, of course, but he was the one that people really started. People were like just amazed by what he could do in that UFC. I remember when it first came out and I didn't get to see it live or anything like that. We would get it on VHS. And I remember I watched the card on VHS when it came into the store. And people had said, watch
the dudes that would come out in their jeans or the guy with one boxing glove and
punching motherfuckers in the nuts when they're there and biting them and shit. And they had all this crazy Joe Song, the Taekwondo background.
He's in jail for murder. Do you know that?
For the rest of his life. He was a fucking, I think he was a pedo too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking creep. But they had all those guys in the beginning.
Creep.
Fucking creep. But they had all those guys out in the beginning, and they were, Gracie was the originator of it, in my opinion, and kind of got it started. I was never a big fan of it. I thought he was boring as fuck to watch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I remember when I saw it, like people would talk about, oh, you got to see the submissions this Hoist Gracie guy does. And then you're watching him in these matches against guys, twice the size of him, and he's choking them out and shit and what he could do. Nobody had ever seen that really in the States.
Nobody had ever seen it.
Yeah.
Especially a skinny guy like that taking on big, mammoth of individuals, and he's tapping them out easy. It's pretty crazy.
Rewind's got some good points here. He said the reason Zuffa boxing didn't take off was because of the union. It ruined it for him. Good point. Yep. UFC was bought for $2.2 million, and they put $9 million into it. They lost money left and right. And
they were $1 million in the red when Dana and the Fertittas bought it, and they sold it for $7.2 billion. Yeah. And then Dana was such a fucking genius. He negotiated them to keep him in power still and be the operations manager from day to day, and still have 20% of the company. What kind of fucking business move was that, dude?
G move, bro.
Come on, man.
That's a G right there in the business world, bro.
Dude.
That's a smart guy, man.
I'm telling you, Dana White is the smartest businessman in America.
It's a smart, and
even smarter than Vince McMahon.
You know what the best part about him too? He doesn't even have a fucking college degree, man. He's just got like a high school diploma.
And if you go look at him, dude, he was the most buck-toothed beaver looking fucking dork when he bought the UFC. I mean, that's what Dana White.
That hairdo that he had, man.
Oh my god.
He was trying to hold on to the hair at that point still, but it was like the little it was like it looked like dandruff on his head that he still had for hair, the little specks, and he was so dorky in the beginning, man.
Yep.
He was awful in the beginning. But boy, he turned out to build something, didn't he?
Yep.
I always favored Ken and Dan and Oleg Taktarov. Yes, the Russian bear.
Fuck, man. Remember Mirko Krokop?
Head kicking motherfuckers.
God damn.
Remember when he came to the UFC? It was like a dream for fans all of that time to get him in because he'd been killing everybody in Pride.
Yeah, I remember when they were doing promo videos and stuff trying to say that he was a cop that eventually got kicked out of Russia and stuff like that. It was all bullshit.
Yeah. Oleg Taktarov, though, there's a blast from the past. The guy that went on to do a lot of stuff in movies. I think he passed away a couple years ago, though. Yeah. He was a tough son of a bitch, too.
Yeah, he was.
The original owners of the UFC, what was his name? Bob Meyerowitz or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, the owners of the UFC tried to get regulated. But one of the Fertitta brothers was on the athletic board and denied
them. You've done your homework, man.
Man, I didn't know that.
The Fertittas and Dana were the one that bought it. They're the ones that helped force the sell.
Hey, what's up, Chris? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, Gonzaga kicked his fucking head off and folded him up over Krokop. Yeah,
he did.
He left Boston because Kevin Weeks was trying to shake him down on collections. I think shaking down's a nice word, Chris, because I think the mafia was trying to
kill him.
Yeah, they were trying to fucking kill him.
They had a hit out on him.
Yeah, he ducked out of there fast.
Yep.
I love Krokop and Pride FC and Mark Hunt. Yeah, Pride was awesome, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Mark Hunt's a piece of shit, but yeah, Pride was awesome.
He is. Mark Hunt, he could sling some leather, though, bro.
Oh, I'm not saying he can't. Yeah, he's a tough bastard and everything like that, but he's a whiny son of a bitch.
He's still crying about shit to this day, right?
Yeah, it's like you got your ass beat up by Brock Lesnar. If you thought Brock wasn't on steroids when you got in there, well, you're a bigger fucking idiot than he is, so.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I love it.
Come on. You got paid millions. Probably the biggest fight of your career, and you made the most money off of, and you're still crying about it.
Rewind says Mark was the king of the one-punch knockout. I could watch that guy fight any day of the week. He was very entertaining to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He either got knocked the fuck out or he knocked people the fuck out, usually.
Yeah, that's why I like Derek Lewis a lot. Not just that. Derek Lewis is a very entertaining guy, but and he's also a really good human being too. But yeah, that's why I like Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis is one of the funniest fucking guys ever.
Man, and dude, when I read that story about him he had the chance to have Dana White fly in on the private jet and get him out of his area when they had that big flood. Yeah. And he fucking stayed in his lifted truck and was pulling people out of the water and shit.
Good dude, man.
Good dude. Took care of his hometown.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good guy. Well, fun discussions here. We'll get to the main event here in a few minutes. Let's take a quick break, guys. We'll say about 5 to 10. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about your favorite and your least favorite gimmicks. So what's your favorite and your least favorite gimmicks? And once again, gimmicks, not just your average, person being Joe Schmo. What were some cool gimmicks you liked? What were some ones that you hated? Some of the worst. Save them for when we come back. We'll be back in about 5 to 10. All right, guys, we'll see you on the other end. All right, we are back, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us, but we are back. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Rumble Johnson was one of my favorite fighters. His knockouts were so brutal. I always wanted John Jones fight with him. Dude, Rumble was a fun one to watch, wasn't he?
Rumble was cool, but the only thing I didn't like about him was when he would be the humble Rumble and he would sit there and be a good sportsmanship, stuff like that. Like, there's a place for that, but for me personally, I like when they do the shit talking and stuff. He was a power knockout artist, though. Him versus Derek Lewis would have been a fucking phenomenal fight. And rest in peace, Anthony Johnson, man. Those of you that don't know, Rumble Johnson actually passed away not too long ago. So
Yeah, a few years ago, right?
yeah,
What was it from? Wasn't it COVID?
it was COVID. He never really came back from it. So,
Oh man, terrible to hear.
yeah.
Terrible shit to hear. Well, let's move on to the main event, the best and the worst wrestling gimmicks of all time. What are your favorite gimmicks? What are your least favorite gimmicks of all time? I'm going to start with you, man. I'm going to let you kick it off tonight. What's one of your favorite and least favorite gimmicks of all time? And you guys put yours in the comments too.
Well, I'm going to start off with it's two of my favorite and one of my least favorite, and it's by the same guy. Matter of fact, it's pretty crazy. Big Daddy Cool Diesel was a really cool one. You had the two dudes with attitudes, him and Shawn Michaels, and him starting off as the bodyguard for Shawn Michaels. Always loved the Diesel gimmick. Was happy when he won the heavyweight championship in WWE at Mania and stuff like that. And then later on, he became Kevin Nash in WCW, which was another favorite of mine. Loved him in NWO and NWO Wolfpack. And even as a singles competitor there, I thought he was great. One of my least favorite was Oz. I thought that was one of the most stupid gimmicks in fucking wrestling history. To take a big guy like that, you almost have to try with having a guy like Kevin Nash and fucking
Fuck it up.
I mean, you have to try pretty damn hard,
Really hard. Oz was terrible. And Vinny Vegas.
Kevin Nash is the king of fucking cool. Even Vinny Vegas was better than Oz, though.
Anything was better than Oz. You have that guy coming out with a fucking gray beard on and a gray wig.
To fuck up Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is one of the king of cools in wrestling. Him and Scott Hall were always cool to me. They always had that cool factor. And, so I just think you really have to try to fuck it up to make Kevin Nash not a star.
I don't think Ric Flair was a gimmick, though, Rabbi. I think that was more that was who he was as a person, in my opinion. I don't think he was really a gimmick. Shockmaster was terrible. God, that was fucking bad stuff right there.
Yeah,
it was real bad. All right, so favorite and least favorite. I'll give one here for me. So this is a gimmick, and it turned out really well for this guy. Not saying he's one of my all-time favorites, but he's probably one of the most legendary wrestlers of all time. And let's be realistic, he got this gimmick over that probably never should have got over. And it's The Undertaker. I mean, the guy is a modern-day Undertaker in 1991 that he comes out as, putting people in body bags, having graveyard matches, shit like that he would do throughout his career. And The Undertaker became one of the most legendary and popular wrestlers of all time. If a gimmick shouldn't work, it should be that one. And it shows you the talent of Mark Calloway to make that work. And that character that he played as The Undertaker was amazing. And the work that he did was amazing. So I'm going to vote for The Undertaker as, one of the best gimmicks that's out there. One of the worst for me, easy one. WCW wasted countless amounts of money on this clown. And it was the wrong time, the wrong era. It just didn't work at this point in time. They were about 2 or 3 years too late to capitalize on this video game that came out. But they still decided to try to put this together and give him a crazy light show and entrance. And then the problem was the guy had the charisma of my fucking asshole. It was that bad. And
dude, your asshole's got charisma from what Rewind says, though.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But it's Glacier, man. God, he was awful. Yeah. What
a prick in real life, too.
Oh, God. People put him over all the time, and it's crazy because our interaction with him years ago when we were supposed to get him on the show, he was such a dick to deal with. Such a dick. He stood us up multiple times. I'll just say this. He stood us up multiple times. And then we couldn't do the day that he wanted to do for like the fourth makeup that it was supposed to be, and we were going to interview him. And then we had to cancel because I had to work. And he ended up pitching a hissy fit, and he was acted like he was like the fucking Hulk Hogan of professional wrestling with like, how dare people cancel on him after he had already done it. Fuck that guy. And he had an awful gimmick too. Glacier was terrible.
Mhm.
The fucking word. One of the worst ever. And such a dumb time to put it out because it was about 2 years too late from the Mortal Kombat boom. And they were in the height of the NWO type stuff when it was starting. And you bring this crap out there when you're trying to make realistic. Ugh, awful. You didn't like Glacier, did you?
I did like Glacier when I was a kid, I'll be honest with you, and it's because I was a big Mortal Kombat fan. When I later, when I got older and stuff like that, I realized the character and the matches never held true to what they were supposed to be. And it was just a glorified stunt show when he was in there. I mean, it wasn't good wrestling at all. It looked like a stunt man basically, and that's actually what he was prior to being in wrestling. So, yeah, Glacier, total turd.
Weird gimmick matches, rewinds wrestling or mentioning here in wrestling history. The Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler kiss my foot match. Yeah, that was disgusting.
I love that you call it the toe sucking match. That's fitting for you to call it that. Rewind. It was the kiss my foot match, not the toe sucking match.
The 1-2-3 Kid, Razor Ramon in a diaper match. Yeah, that's very weird.
That was weird.
Good, very good gimmick right here that Rabbi put out. $1 Million Man was a great gimmick. Tremendous gimmick.
The $1 Million Man, Rabbi, was a great gimmick. His son, not so much.
No, ain't working out too well for his kid, is it?
No.
He's facing like 35 years in prison.
You might as well give him life.
Yeah, pretty much.
He'll be a fucking ancient old man by the time he gets out.
Seriously, man. But $1 Million Man was a great gimmick for sure.
Yeah.
Lorenz said his least favorite was Terry Taylor as the Red Rooster. Yes, absolutely. The fucking
great wrestling figure though.
It is, and it's worth a lot of money too.
Yeah,
it's worth a lot of money if you can ever find a Red Rooster one.
Yeah.
Awful gimmick though. My God, the guy acting like a fucking chicken.
Yep.
You know, and then they put the red stripe in his hair. Remember that? Oh God, his music was awful too. had the sound of the barnyard and them cackling in it. Just terrible.
Yep.
My favorite is Mick Foley as Cactus Jack. Love that gimmick and character. Great gimmick, great character.
Yeah, I'll go as far, and this is probably an unpopular opinion for me. Cactus Jack and Mankind. Love the gimmicks. Two of my most favorite of all time. Love Mick Foley as a human being and a person. Dude Love, one of the worst gimmicks to me. Never liked it. Yeah, never liked it. Thought it was dog shit. Hated it, to be honest with you.
You hate the dude.
I hate Dude Love.
Wow. All right. Interesting. I love Dude
Cactus Jack. Love Mankind. Don't like Dude Love.
Cactus Jack's my favorite one out of them all. Mankind 2, Dude Love 3. But I like the dude too. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fun one. I read and heard an interview that Glacier was the nicest person in wrestling, so it's interesting to hear that regarding what happened between Glacier and yourself.
Obviously, those people fucking were paid to write that shit.
Yeah, maybe Glacier's like Jim Carrey, me, myself, and Irene, and has two personalities: super nice and super asshole.
No, there's no me, myself. It's just asshole.
Dude, he was such a fucking. He was all the years we've had.
Mug bastard.
Yeah, we've had probably throughout the years 50 to 75 wrestlers on this show. Or wrestling performers, good names, really good names, not so big in names, whatever. We've had a ton of different types. We've never paid for an interview, and we've never really had anybody be a true dick about it to us for the most part. We've had a couple that were.
Ethan Page was another one.
He was a dick. Yeah, he was a dick to deal with too. Yeah. Good memory on that one. But good memory on that one. We didn't have many cases of dealing with dicks though. Most of them were pretty cool. Glacier
the ones that big time make you feel like they're some fucking god. Yeah, they're dicks.
Glacier was on like a god complex when he didn't get his fucking way. He was a dick. Yeah, Ethan Page was a dick too. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Perry Saturn in the dress days in WWE with Moppy. I thought the Moppy stuff was funny.
I thought it was funny, but you know what? Perry Saturn's one of those where I think they had a huge missed opportunity in WCW and WWE. When he was in the flock and he did that storyline where he broke away and he won the TV title, before they fed his ass to Goldberg, I thought Perry Saturn, he would get some amazing pops in the crowd and stuff. He could have been a huge star for them.
He is a hell of a worker too.
Yeah, he was.
I loved him and Cronus as the Eliminators in ECW as a tag team. Man, they were really good. I'll throw another couple at you that I liked. One, I just shit on Glacier, but I'm gonna give one that I actually really liked, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine from WCW that I think they could have maybe done a little bit more with, even though it was outlandish. And he was the biggest adversary of Glacier for a good chunk of it, and it was Mortis. I liked Chris Kanyon as Mortis. I
Chris
thought
Kanyon as Mortis was awesome. I think he was the star in that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think they should have left that character. That was a cool character. That was a cool gimmick, cool costume, great manager even.
James Vanderberg, yeah.
Yep, James Vanderberg. So that was a good fit. I didn't like Wrath. I thought Wrath was kind of ridiculous and hokey. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I liked Mortis. I was always a big fan of that. And Chris Kanyon could work.
Yeah, he could.
He could work real good. So I was a big fan of this. Now, worst gimmicks that I'll give for this one. I just gave one of my ones that I liked, but I'll give a bad one here that I'm not a fan of. And it's a tag team one. So some people love these people as a tag team. I don't get it. I never did get it. I never liked them. I thought they couldn't work for shit. They always seemed to have a job because they were Hogan's buddies, and it was the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys. I don't get how they've become legends in the wrestling business.
Seriously.
There's nothing legendary about the Nasty Boys. They got the tag team titles 1 time, 2 times, something like that.
They bounced around,
There's nothing legendary about those two assholes. That's disrespectful to call them legends.
Yeah, I'm not a Nasty Boys fan at all. I think they're disgusting. The pit stop that they do with the sweaty armpit was always gross to me. Like their gimmick is like just white trash scumbags.
There's not much more to it than that.
Yeah, white trash scumbags basically was their gimmick.
Pretty much, Jerry Flynn would have fit right in.
Oh, bro, he could have been. He could have been the muscle
been the
behind
ringleader.
them.
Yeah, the muscle. Because God knows there was no muscle on their fat asses.
No. Lorraine said Big Vito in the dress was worse than Perry Saturn. At least Perry made it work with the dress gimmick where he was playing a crazy character using it for psychological warfare. All right, now I'm going to combat that, Lawrence, with this. Big Vito was super over when he was doing this dress gimmick, and I applaud his commitment to it, and he was really over on SmackDown at that time with this gimmick. So
I never understood why Big Vito didn't get more flowers than he did.
Same here.
The dress gimmick, good worker, but the dress gimmick he got over, that was like gold dust. He got it over, but he got the dress gimmick over when he wasn't supposed to. They were trying to get rid of him. Yeah. And I liked Big Vito the whole time. I liked the Italian gimmick and stuff. I thought it was really cool. So I'm gonna go a faction route for my next one, man.
All right.
I'm gonna go obviously one of my favorite factions of all time, D-Generation X, legendary. It's a given. But one of the worst factions of all time, I never quite understood. Didn't get why they went with this. It was, featured on WCW Nitro quite a bit in the end times of it. And that's the Filthy Animals, dude. They wasted Rey Mysterio's career down there when they unmasked him and put him in this ungodly, awful fucking gimmick with this group of people. Losers like Glenn Gilberti and all them fucking Disco Inferno, and Conan and these toxic motherfuckers. Yeah, dude, I don't understand why they did that. Rey Mysterio should have stayed masked in WCW. It was a mistake to unmask him ever, and it was a mistake to get rid of the cruiserweight division the way they did and shit on it when it brought him to the dance to begin with. So, yeah, I definitely got to say that the Filthy Animals was one of the worst gimmicks in WCW history.
It was Conan and Mysterio, and Kidman was in it too, right?
Kidman and Disco Inferno, and then who was the girl, Tigress, or
one of the Nitro Girls or something?
Yeah, one of the Nitro Girls.
Oh yeah, I don't.
And then Tori Wilson for a hot minute.
I was never a fan of it either, to be honest with you. I wasn't like a big fan of it in any way.
Yeah,
it didn't do it for me. What's another one that you really love, like a really good gimmick that you love?
Really good gimmick. I could go for days. Obviously, you guys know my love for Vampiro, and say what you will about his character, outside of the ring, but his character and storytelling inside of the ring and the storylines that he was involved in and stuff, I always got sucked into. Especially the stuff that he did on Lucha Underground, where he was basically the teacher, like the evil demonic teacher and stuff like that. I thought he did a great job with that. He's a master manipulator in life, and that's what made him such a great storyteller. Got to go with Vampiro, man.
And he was like a rock star in Mexico too, so
Yeah, he was.
he got that type of treatment. Lorant says absolutely hated the Spirit Squad. That gimmick sucked. I agree. I was not a fan of the Spirit Squad. Were you?
I wasn't. They thought that Kenny Florian. What was it? Kenny Florian? What was his name?
Kenny Dykstra.
Kenny Dykstra. They thought Kenny Dykstra was going to be the star. Who knew it was going to be Dolph Ziggler?
I know, and he's still going to this day.
Still going to this day.
Yeah, I think he was the only one that really had a lot of success, if I remember correctly, out of it.
Yeah, Dykstra. They had him built up as leader. It was kind of like the. I hate to say this as a comparison, but Nation of Domination, how they did The Rock. That was supposed to be D'Lo Brown. That was supposed to be the shining star, and The Rock ended up being the guy. So.
You want to know why Dykstra didn't work out though at the time?
Well, he was an arrogant asshole.
No, it wasn't that. So there's this thing through the years that's been told, and just like I'm just saying, this has been said by many people, but who knows if it's the truth or not? We're just giving a story that we've heard. I don't want anybody to think that we're saying this is fact, but Dykstra was dating Mickie James at the time, and John Cena was fucking Mickie James.
Really?
Yeah. And John Cena was banging Mickie James when she was with Dykstra, and Dykstra got wind of it, and basically they got rid of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty easy decision.
Yeah. Wasn't a hard call, right?
No, not at all.
That's been the story that's been told through the years, why he just got blackballed basically and held to a screeching halt. He was only like 22 years old or some shit, a young kid, had a great look to him, a great worker, had a lot of charisma and stuff, probably very egotistical and arrogant, but apparently he was dating Mickie, and then Cena was bopping her, and that's what was the end of it for him.
I've got two really bad gimmicks that just popped in my head, and it was around the same time frame, so it's pretty easy to talk about both of them. They were all from the same era, and it's, the Ruthless Aggression era had just kicked off and stuff like that. You had Kenzo Suzuki, and you had Rene Dupree.
Is that the guy that did the French tickle?
The French tickler.
Yeah. The one that came out with the dog, Fifi?
Fifi, yeah. Horrible fucking gimmick, dude. I didn't get the stupid fucking dance that he would come out and do. I never understood it.
The French tickle?
Yeah. Just fucking horrible.
I forgot how bad that shit was, man.
Dude, so bad. They were throwing anything at the wall to see if it would stick at that time. I mean, then you had fucking, what was his name? Mordecai, who was like the albino version of The Undertaker.
Didn't he last like about a month or two or something?
A month or two. And then you had the fucking, the pianist or whatever in WCW. What was that guy's name?
Maestro.
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 We could go on forever about this show, dude.
I know Richie loves the French tickle. I gave him a French tickle every time I see him.
Jesus Christ.
Farouk and Ahmed Johnson getting outshined by everyone in The Rock and the Nation. Yeah. All right.
You know what, dude? Tony Norris was a cool guy, though, outside of the ring. Like, I've got the opportunity to talk to him and stuff like that. Tony Norris is a cool guy. Ahmed Johnson, man. I got a soft spot for him.
I know. You like Tony. You love him.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Rene Dupree, but this is a guilty pleasure gimmick of mine for some reason. I just love this. And I think it's probably because of the theme song. Just this theme song is so awful. It's great. And I don't know if you remember this one, but I don't know why. This was over with me always. And I thought they could have done more with this guy. He had a great look. And this awful gimmick, I just like it for some reason. And it's just because of the theme song, probably.
Oh, my God. Just look at me.
Just look at me.
He looked like Buff Bagwell, dude.
Yeah.
I just feel like they were going to do this with Buff Bagwell.
Just look at me. Just look at me. Ain't I a sight to see?
And he started off as a French guy.
World wants to look like me. But they don't.
Good Lord.
But they don't. So on a list of awful songs, I just love it. I don't know why. It's so bad.
We could do a whole show on awful songs and the best theme songs and fucking
the worst theme songs that you love. We've done best theme songs, but I think before, but
the worst theme
songs that you just love. You know?
That would make probably a honorable mention on there.
It's definitely in top 5 on mine. Just look at that. I mean, ain't I a sight to see? And
Dude,
then
I'm telling you, that's what they had planned for Buff Bagwell.
to be the con man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they do look a lot alike, don't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh God.
You know, another bad gimmick that they had was Planet Stasiak, man,
Oh, with
or
Sean
fucking.
Stasiak.
Remember when they had him as a meat? Was it meat?
Yeah, meat. He wasn't very well liked either in the back. Apparently,
Yeah.
this is the story about him through the years. The reason why he never worked out. He was an incredibly weird dude. People said, as it was, he creeped people out, and they ended up finding out that he was videotaping. He was putting up secret videos in the locker rooms and stuff, and he was taping the wrestlers in the back without their consent and with these
Oh,
hidden
come
cameras.
on.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but what a piece of shit move that is.
Yeah. So he had gotten confronted and busted about it, and then he got fired and never did anything in wrestling ever again. He's a chiropractor now, but I'm sure he's doing just fine for himself. But that's why Planet Stasiak never worked out.
You know, another one, I'm going to go with a female on this one that I never understood. And I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for this one because she's pretty loved in the wrestling world. But, you know, Luna Falcone, I thought she was one of the worst gimmicks in wrestling, too. I never understood.
Luna Vachon?
Vachon, yeah. I never understood the growling or the barking or any of that stuff, man. It was just, I didn't like her until she got into the oddities.
Yeah. She fit well in the oddities, didn't she?
She was tailor-made for that gimmick.
She was fucking crazy, man.
She was fucking insane. And if, you know.
She was married to Gangrel, right?
Gangrel. And when she did, they had a wrestling school together. I watched a documentary with them both, and it was pretty good. But, and she had a real positive effect on a lot of troubled teenagers and stuff like that. They would open their school to those troubled kids and give them training and stuff like that for free, which was really cool. Yeah,
he loved her too.
Oh, that was his true love, kind of like China was to Triple H. But
he loved her, even though they didn't work out. You know, he said they always remained friends.
Yeah, Luna was I didn't like her gimmick. I liked the oddities gimmick. I didn't like her when she was like the Mad Dog remake in woman form. You know.
Yeah. She never got her flowers, I think, too, and she never really stayed somewhere long and never got. I don't think she was ever a world champion. I don't think she ever was. She always kind of fell short, and she kind of got bounced around a lot. It was a different time for women, so I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. Yeah. Rewind's got a good one here. Giant Gonzalez, his outfit was bizarre.
What the fuck was that thing?
It was an airbrushed fucking body look, like with the 6-pack, and then they put patches of hair all over it.
It almost looked like a mix between Bigfoot and fucking like a ape.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And God rest his soul, he just couldn't work for shit either. He was terrible.
And how are you going to put him up against The Undertaker? How's The Undertaker supposed to tombstone a guy that's fucking twice his size?
Do you ever hear The Undertaker's stories about working with him?
Yeah, he just didn't know what to do with him. He's like, I would hit him, and he just wouldn't fucking do anything.
Or he said you'd be working on a match with him, and he'd go to punch him, and he would just fucking potato him. And he's like, George, stop! You got to pull back. And he'd punch him again, and he'd hit him right in the square in the nose. And he tells a story about one of the matches with him where he finally just got fed up with it. He said he knew he wasn't doing it intentionally. He just wouldn't get it, and he got punched in the nose by Giant Gonzalez. And he said he finally had enough and fucking decked him. Yeah. He was a big cat, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. That's a tough bastard.
What was he, like 7'7" or 7'8" or some shit like that?
He had a disease, from what I heard, but yeah,
the giantism or something like that.
Yeah, that was something stupid. That guy was huge.
You know, that was one of my favorite wrestling figures that I had, was the Classic Superstars Giant Gonzalez one. Yeah,
they did pretty good detail on that, didn't they?
Yeah, that
was the coolest fucking wrestling figure line. If there's some wrestling figure collectors in our crowd, man, you tell me when a better time was than when the fucking Classic Superstars line was under WWE. They had every character in that line when they bought the rights to WCW.
Bro, I had so many of them.
Yeah, so did I.
You remember that was my one that when you got
that was your collection, man. You loved the Classic Superstar.
I had a whole fucking remember it was in my my old office in this house.
That used to be your backdrop for our podcast.
Those were the best figures they ever made, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They did so fucking good on that line. I'm surprised they never tried to really replicate that ever again. You know,
They couldn't because all the names
Yeah.
at that time they had to file a trademark or whatever, and unfortunately, after the purchase of WCW and stuff, they had all those, and then they lost it. So
Bam Bam Bigelow. There's a great one right there. We talked about him a little while ago on the best big men when we were talking about them. Bam
yeah,
Bam Bigelow.
I'll give you one here. Bam Bam Bigelow being one of the best ones, and probably an unpopular opinion. Vader was one of the worst to me. I didn't like Vader.
Just never got it.
It wasn't that I didn't get it. I didn't like his wrestling style. He always looked fucking stiff as shit, and just I don't know. I just never liked Vader. Never did.
He was great in WCW, and when he came to WWF, it was just done. He was
Shit the
shot.
bed.
Yeah, he was out of shape. He was shot. It just wasn't there anymore for him.
Yeah.
He was, bro. When I was a kid, man, Vader was a scary guy. When I was watching WCW, I was a Sting fan for WCW, and he had that huge feud with the Stinger.
I'll tell you this: when he would come out with that fucking big mask, the Mastodon mask, that
would
cool.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool as shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He said he hated carrying that fucking thing around, and he would, they would say like he would have to haul that shit from the United States to Japan because he worked so much in Japan, and he just got so fed up with it after a while. But it was worth so much money that he just didn't want to leave it behind somewhere. He couldn't trust other people with it, basically, because I think the thing was worth like $100,000 or some shit like that. Yeah, it was like some crazy figure that it was worth. It was custom built. I mean, when you look at that was early 90s, man. Like, think about how cool that is still to this day with that mask.
Well, the technology, I mean, fuck. I mean, they had to have hooked it up to an air compressor when he was coming out to blow that steam out of that motherfucker. I don't know how they did it.
It was worth buku bucks, they said, so he didn't trust people along with it. I think people tried to steal it before, some shit like that. So,
I bet you X-Pac or Sean Waltman probably take a shit in it or something.
I don't know if they want to fuck with Vader at that time. Loran said, love Vader, enjoyed him against Cactus Jack and WCW in the Texas Death Match. They had some great matches together.
I guess I just watched him at the wrong time, man. Like I said, I grew up in the Attitude Era, so that's what I got to see of Big Van Vader.
Go back and watch some of his like 92, 93 work, Richie, if you're ever checking it out. I know you watch wrestling all the time before you go to bed, but if you ever want to go back and kind of, I think, go check out Super Brawl 92, I think it is. Super Brawl 92. I think that was him versus the Stinger when they had that match, and it was the whole White Castle of Fear stuff that they were doing. And him and Sting's feud, bro, go back and watch the build up to it if you ever again. Tremendous work with him. And his pairing,
good, huh?
Yeah, really good. His pairing with Harley Races, his manager, was phenomenal too. And like Laza said about his stuff with Cactus Jack, because they were originally kind of partners, and then it transformed into them kind of fighting each other at that period of time. And then Vader's work with Ric Flair, tremendous, bro.
Yeah,
tremendous. Always worth checking out.
For sure.
I wouldn't steer you wrong. I've never seen a lot of his Japanese stuff, so I can't comment on most of it, but I know he was huge in Japan.
Okay, I'll give you another one.
It was Kuwait Rewind.
As far as like a best gimmick, this was not a best gimmick by any means, but just the better of the character. And I'll go with Too Cold Scorpio was the better version of the character, and the worst gimmick was fucking Flash Fuck.
Modern day shitty pimp.
Oh my god, those boots were what was so atrocious to me in that outfit. It was just hard. They could, the Godfather was a pimp outfit. That looked sick.
Was cool.
Flash Funk looked ridiculous.
And it just didn't get over with the fans either.
At all. No.
Too Cold Scorpio was great though.
I thought it was cool, and when he was tag teaming with Terry Funk and shit like that, I thought that was awesome, and I thought that was really going to take off, and it didn't.
Yeah, he teamed up with Bagwell too for a while. They had a pretty good tag team, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he was a good worker, man, and he could fly.
Yeah,
he was one of the first, if I remember correctly, for me when it comes to high flyers. Probably he was probably one of the first high flyers that I saw as a kid. He was early 90s, like WCW. I think he kind of came out around the Ron Simmons time, and when Ron became champ, if I remember correctly, it's kind of when he debuted. And you'd watch him do those flips and all the acrobatic stuff that he could do. And now it's nothing to people nowadays because of what the wrestlers can do. But it was such a cool era of him watching him. He was probably the first big high flyer that I had ever seen. I loved him. Yeah, Laza mentioned one that I'm going to pick on for worst. And I'm not criticizing this gentleman's mind. He had a hell of a mind for wrestling. Seemed like an awesome figure in it. You know, I know he's not with us anymore, but I never liked a lot of his stuff at WCW. I never liked his characters, and I thought his big angles, the biggest angle that he had in his career, was one of the things that almost killed WCW permanently, and it just never got anywhere. Thankfully, they finally gave up on it and moved to the edgier direction that they ended up going. But it was Kevin Sullivan in the Dungeon of Doom.
Yep.
Awful, bro. Awful.
Horrible. Some of the worst characters in WCW history were involved in it. You know, he just, and you know, you got to look at Kevin Sullivan too when he did that. What was that? The atrocious gimmick where he did the college,
the varsity club.
I mean, what the fuck was he thinking? For a guy that had such a bright mind for the business, he sure fucking couldn't save his life in his own fucking career, man. I mean, just terrible gimmicks that he had.
Yeah. I just wasn't a big fan of it, you know?
I never thought that he's another one that gets claimed to be a legend all the fucking time, and I'm like, why? For what? What
they
reason?
see his mind was the legendary thing about him and how he kind of helped people with certain storylines and parts of his career that his mind
but it was never him that were great storylines.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying what people would say about him, like they loved working with him in his mind. But it also goes back to too is he had his moments later on, but WCW's biggest turnaround wasn't under his guidance of creative or anything like that. So he might have had some great ideas, and I'm sure he had a brilliant mind in a lot of things, but it's not like he's one of the most successful bookers of all time or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, to look at it from that perspective.
I got another shitty gimmick for you real quick, and it's because, you know, you got to mention the Animal Batista as one of the good ones, but you could also go on the flip side of it and say one of the worst gimmicks of all time was the Deacon Batista.
Oh yes,
when you had Devon and the Deacon, what a shit gimmick that he tried to get over, man. That was horrible. If Triple H wouldn't have pulled him from that debacle, what would we ever be talking about? I mean, would he be a Hollywood star? Would we ever talk about his career after that? I mean, if it would have stopped at that, man, that would have been horrible. But you know, he was the Leviathan for a very long time, and that was a very unstoppable force in the lower leagues of wrestling. And then when he gets there, they make him this fucking Deacon, you know, sidekick of Devon Dudley. Just horrible.
Devon Dudley as a singles competitor is a big to me too, you know.
Yeah, you want to talk about a charisma vacuum. If he doesn't have Bubba Ray Dudley next to him, Jesus.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
He was stuck spinning his tires in the mud.
The NWO stuff came out, they say, ran even before that. I know he had a big part of it.
It was Eric Bischoff that came up with it.
No, Eric Bischoff has said Kevin Sullivan had helped come up with it too.
Wow.
But it was already a created idea in Japan before that, and it had already been doing something very similar. So I think they all had a place in the tweaks. The reason Hogan turned and actually went through with it was because of Kevin Sullivan, though. Because Hogan was non-committal on the turn. Like he had said he was going to, but then they said he was flip-flopping back and forth. Kevin Sullivan, they sent Kevin Sullivan that day when it was supposed to happen. And they sent him to basically get Hogan's mind at ease that day and to be kind of the handler for the day. So Hogan didn't get anybody that got in his ear and twisted him on what to do on this angle. And Kevin Sullivan, they say, was the driving point and the reason why Hogan fully agreed to the commitment to becoming a heel was because of him. Interesting, you know, to see that stuff, right?
Yeah. I've got one that I think is going to shock people. This is just how I've felt probably all my life as a wrestling fan. And I've always been ashamed to say this, but because a lot of people will give me shit for it, but I don't care anymore. I'm just going to say it on here. One of the worst gimmicks of all time that I've ever thought, and he's a very beloved character, probably was one of the first to go in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. I never liked him. I think that the big men that followed him were great. I think the Big Show was a better version of him, and that's Andre the Giant, man.
Wow.
Never liked Andre the Giant, dude.
Good points here.
Never liked him. Thought the Big Show was way better than him.
He was an attraction, you know, and this is, you know, this was a different world when he was there. And it was kind of like you know, wrestling's derived off of the carnivals and the carnies and stuff like that with a lot of stuff. A lot of the terminology is from it too. Andre the Giant was like a carnival act to a lot of people because people never seen anybody that gigantic and that huge and everything like that. So at that time, that was the hot thing and the hot way that people marketed that around. So I can see where that doesn't grab you either. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm a big Andre the Giant fan. I'm not.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm not. I don't dislike him and I don't
I
discredit
like
him.
the history of the man when you hear the war stories of him on the road and him being at the bar and closing it down. I like hearing those stories. Watching his wrestling work, the moment where Hulk Hogan slammed him and stuff like that, iconic moment. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that. And I'm not trying to say that he was horrible or anything like that. I just never liked it. I never was entertained by his wrestling style. I thought it was very boring. It was much like Giant Gonzalez. Just very stiff and very awkward and weird, and I just never liked it.
Ooh, all right. Lawrence said, I asked Kevin when he was alive for his advice through Cameo. Unfortunately, he ripped me off. Oh, that's not good. It's terrible.
Sucks.
I still respect Kevin, though. He has a great mind. Absolutely. It's because you're a good dude, Leza. If Todd Gordon had picked Kevin to be the booker in ECW instead of Paul, and he was very close to doing it, would Nancy ever get with Chris? Probably not. That's a weird thing to think about. Good point, Rewind.
Yeah, that's really weird to think about.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, man. I'll tell you, we could go down the list of the common ones too, that from that whole career occupation type gimmicks that they would do, but everybody's covered those a million times over in the past. But I'm gonna go with one that I really liked, and I know he couldn't work for shit, but I thought it worked for him, and they really were able to build this guy as a huge badass, but he just couldn't work in the ring, and they had no intentions of really doing much with him in there. But it created the first big movie that the WWF at the time did, and it was Zeus. Tony Tiny Lister, no longer with us anymore, was in a million different types of movies. Zeus, man, no holds barred. Guy looked like a stone cold killer in it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, man. For the time frame, again, it's one of those things where it was a what do you call that? Like when it plays with your mind into thinking that he's bigger than he was. It's like an illusion almost. Like he looked like a gigantic person because he was a gigantic person, but he looked like the size of Andre the Giant. He really wasn't, but he was massive, and it was believable and stuff. And we've done a watch along of the movie and shit like that. It's
what's that smell?
Yeah, that's pretty much his claim to fame and stuff like that. Besides the Friday movie, so I could take it or leave it with Zeus, man.
He scared the shit out of me as a young kid. I remember,
dude.
He's what?
His eyes that would go cross-eyed.
Oh, I know when he would do that. And he was just massive, and then his gear was just really cool that he had that gear. And then I just never understood why they did it like this, and it was so awful looking. Was the Z from his unibrow that they would have? But the movie, man, like I remember watching as a kid, and I saw that, and then the stuff they would bring him out on TV, of course, with the matches and stuff, and for real. And as a kid, I was scared shitless of Zeus from watching No Holds Barred. Like you see this guy and you just think he's a killer. And it's funny that he goes on later in his life doing comedy shit,
Yeah.
He was a character though, man. He definitely had his place. Hit me with one last one for the night before we head out for the evening.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'll hit you with one. It's one that just popped in my head, and it came from the Asylum years of TNA. You can't have the worst gimmicks of all time without mentioning these gentlemen. It was Sonny Siaki, Jimmy Wang Yang, and I can't remember the other
Flying
guy.
Elvises.
The flying fucking Elvises, dude. Horrible fucking gimmick. Jimmy Wang
three
Yang,
of them, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Wang Yang was a very talented athlete. Sonny Siaki had a great look and stuff like that. And I can't imagine who was the booker at the time that sat in the back and said, you know what? Let's put these fuckers in Elvis outfits and see if it gets over. So stupid, dude.
I think this was Russo doing this at this time, wasn't it?
It totally smells like a Russo move, yeah.
And
who was the third guy? It was Sonny Siaki,
Jimmy Wang Yang, and Jorge Estrada.
Jorge Estrada.
Yeah, he's kind of the one that most people don't really remember. Siaki's working for WWE now, I think, right? As like an agent or something.
Yeah.
I love the Flying Elvises. I thought they were great. It was so stupid though, bro.
Yeah.
Could they work or what though?
Oh yeah, they could work, and that's what I'm saying. Like I can't believe they couldn't find a better gimmick than the flying fucking Elvis.
Seriously.
I don't know if that's something that those three came up
The
with.
flying
I
Elvises, you know what they are with the parachute ones that they do the parachuting.
Yeah.
And then there was a movie that was made years before with Nicolas Cage. I can't remember the name of it. And at the end of the movie, he has to jump out of the airplane with the flying Elvises because he's in Vegas to get his fiance, who was I think it was with James Caan, and he was the one that kind of grabbed her or whatever. That was the kind of the history of of what flying Elvises are.
Yep.
Shark Boy. Did you like Shark Boy?
I did not like Shark
Yeah,
Boy.
I
I
thought
thought
it
it
was
was a
stupid.
cheap rip off of Stone Cold Steve Austin's gimmick. And that was the point, I guess. But Shark Boy, Suicide, I thought was a stupid one over there. You had a bunch of shit that TNA was another victim of that. They were throwing shit at the wall to see if it stuck.
Curry Man.
Yep, Curry Man. That was Christopher Daniels.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the Flying Elvises was just before Russo. It was probably Ed Ferrara and Jerry Jarrett, as Ed was with NWA and TNA for a short while. Yeah, very well could have been. It's definitely going to be. It's definitely got to be either Russo or Ferrara. I think that created the Flying Elvises. If I, it's definitely right around both. Leaving Las Vegas is not that one. That's the one where he's an alcoholic, Rand. There's another one with him where he's getting married and he loses a bet gambling. And he loses his fiance that he's marrying in there, and it's a different one. But Leaving Las Vegas is a movie that he did there too. So, well, all right, everybody, we went 2 hours strong tonight. We hope you guys had a lot of fun with us. I know we always have a lot of fun with each and every one of you guys. Really fast and quick notes for next week. We're not going to be on next week. Richie is on vacation next week with his family, so we're not going to have a show next week. I would have done a one-on-one show, but I'm going to the Creed concert next Wednesday, so. We're probably just going to skip out on.
I'm excited for you to go to Creed.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's Creed and Daughtry, so I'm taking my kids
Daughtry's
out there.
there too. Wow.
Yeah, Daughtry's his opener.
You better have some videos, man.
Oh, you know I will, man. Absolutely. So I let my kids both pick out one concert they wanted to go to this summer. Richie's coming to Portland for a massage. I can't wait. But yeah, so you're going to be in California. You're going to be in San Diego. So
going to San Diego for a week. I'm going to be a beach bum. But you guys know I will be thinking about you on Wednesday, especially. I will be missing you guys. This is one of my favorite nights of the week. Thank you guys for showing up for the content each and every week, man. We're coming out. We're not leaving. We're not having an extended hiatus. Nothing like that. This is just the time frame that John and I have to recharge our batteries a little bit, go on vacation. He's, got his vacation coming up. I've got mine. But we really press hard through, usually August and on. The rest of the year, you'll get consistent content. I doubt we're going to be going anywhere until about probably Christmas, I'd say. So you're going to get consistent content after that each and every week. So
yeah, most of August, we're not going to have shows, guys, just because, like Richie said, I'll be on vacation from the 6th, I think it is, to the 24th of August. So, but we'll be back, and as soon as I get back, we'll do a show, and we'll do a show in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today when Richie gets back too. So, and then fall time, winter time, we're always going strong every week as we always do. We don't ever miss weeks. So we just wanted to give you guys a heads up for next week why we're not going to be here and why we're not going to be here in August for a few weeks. So it'll be fun, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, what we're going to try to plan on doing is we're going to go back to our Is It Really That Bad series, but we're going to look at it from a different way. And we've been saying we wanted to do a live stream for a while, so we're going to shoot for it on the next show in 2 weeks. We hope we can do it if the timing works out with work and everything for Richie and I. We're going to do it this way for the topic in 2 weeks. And we're going to go do Is It Really That Bad? But we're going to give a fair shot to AEW, and we're going to watch a live Dynamite that week. And we're going to give our opinion. We don't watch it anymore. We haven't watched it in a long time. We want to see if it's really that bad or if it's as good as some people might think. So we're going to do a live watch along in 2 weeks, hopefully, to that AEW Dynamite episode. So we're going to give it a fair shot.
Yeah, right on, man. I can't wait. And all the comments and stuff like that, wishing me safe travels and stuff. I appreciate you all, man. I'll be safe. I'll come back. Don't worry, you guys. We're gonna have plenty more content. I'll be watching out for the vampires in Santa Monica, Lawrence.
The Lost Boys. What a great movie that is, bro.
Absolutely. And I just want you guys to know you guys mean so much to us, and thank you for being here, man. So we'll see you down the road.
1000%. Fellas, be good. Everybody else who watches this later on, whenever you check this out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So until then, be safe, be well. Thanks for joining us as always on Wrestling with Reality. For Richie, I'm John. We'll see you in a couple weeks, guys.